My name is Marcia Link. I'm the president of OWL, Ophthalmic Women Leaders, soon to be branded as Plano OWL, because our commitment is to enhance diverse leadership across ophthalmology and collaborate with stakeholders who bring together different functions. And so we're happy to have you here. And Sherry and I, whom you'll hear from in just a moment, we're gathered this evening to hear 4 extraordinary women talk about their journeys in their professional careers. And 2 of our panelists are representatives from OWL, and 2 of our panelists are represented from the newly formed ASPENS group. So Sherry, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Marcia. And we're about a year old. I'm the president of ASPENS, and Marcia and I started talking a year ago and talked about how we could collaborate and bring diversity to each other and start working with physicians and work with us. And this was a real great networking opportunity. We have a lot of people to thank, and we're very grateful and excited and enthusiastic that you all came out for this tonight. We have many people to thank, and I'm going to put on my glasses, even though Marcia made it in huge font. So whoever knows how to fix presbyopia, I'm ready right now. I think is everybody raising their hand? I mean, that's like, we have to get this done. But anyway, we have a lot of sponsors who generously help make this event possible. We have Abbott Medical Optics, and Rick Kozlowski from AMO will welcome you. We have Tier Lab, Julie Speed's here, Nick Curtis, Lenzar, and all the people that work with the companies, and Wayne and everybody from MyOptics. And and anyone who is part of this company, can you just stand first so we can recognize and give you a hand for thanking, for coming and supporting us. Anybody who's with those companies, thank you all for showing up and being part with us. I can't remember everybody's name. It's like the Academy Awards, you know, you can only do so many. Is Rick in the room? Come on up for a second, because we really want to thank you all for, you know, and the OWL and ASPENS committee for helping to make this event possible. And then I'll come and say a few words, and I'll finish thanking everybody.
Thanks, Dr. Rowan. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us and giving AMO an opportunity to sponsor this event. I'm not here to talk about products, but we do have something that could help the presbyopia if you're interested.
I know, I'm ready to sign up right now.
Yeah. But again, I mean, the reason these types of programs are extremely important to myself and to Abbott as a whole is it's truly taking the next step for Abbott. It's not just about products, it's about partnership. And hopefully you're seeing some of that. It's been evolving over the last couple of years, and it's going to continue to evolve. And I truly mean that it's not, you know, it's about partnering with you as a practicing physician, but also partnering with organizations like this. And it's not only partnering with the big organizations like ASCRS or AO, but with organizations that are more specific. And I think hopefully you're starting to see some of the inroads we're making, but we're going to do better. We're going to continue to reach out to you as an organization, reach out to you individually. And ultimately, we want to hear from you, too, in terms of what we can be doing better. So, again, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. It's really very exciting times. We also want to thank, and here I can see this, but just to make sure, want to thank everybody from our ASPENS and OWL committee who helped make this event possible. Angela Dell, Executive Director of OWL, and Laura Erdenleis, and our committee. I don't know if 2 of you should be in the room, but just thank you guys for helping us, who contributed to this evening's success. And we have a few facilitators for the tables. We have Catherine Clark, Lori Brown, Tammy Evans, Kate Benedict, Heather Reddy, Heather Johnson, Meg Sweeney, Maureen Tipp, Laura Erdenlaz, and Christina Solms. So we want to thank all of you, and we really look forward to hearing this. Marcia?
So the flow of the evening is that we're going to hear from 2 of our panelists who are going to give prepared remarks about their journey, their professional journey, where they have used or developed competence, confidence, and courage. After the 2 panelists give their remarks, we will then have a facilitated table discussion, and your facilitator have some suggested questions in case you have a hard time starting to talk. But we would like for you to react to the panelists' comments and to respond to what they said that is meaningful or important to you. And for those of you that are seated around the edge of the room, when we start our tabletop discussions, we would ask that you find a table so that you can join into the interactive nature of this program. After the first tabletop discussion, we will then go to the next two panelists. They will give prepared remarks, and then we'll have time for, again, tabletop discussion. And if we can cut you off, we intend to have time for Q&A when any of you can ask any of our panelists a question that they can answer. So on with the show, and to do that, I'm going to ask Sherry to introduce the first panelist, representing ASPENS, and then I'll introduce our second panelist, a representative of AL. So, you want to introduce Neda?
Neda.
Neda.
Okay, well, it's my pleasure to introduce. I have two wonderful friends here on panel. I mean, we're all friends, but we're all going to be new friends, but of our ASPENS group, Neda and Dee. We'll first start with Neda Shami, who was trained first at UCSF and then came down, did her fellowship at UC Irvine. Came in from Iran as a young girl. She'll tell you a little bit about that and what she had to do, because what we want to do is talk about how it takes courage and how you have to have your competence to develop that confidence and grow as a leader in your field, whatever that is. And she's an expert in advanced corneal procedures. She's dynamic and fabulous, and I welcome you, Neda, to talk about your experience.
And, well, let's have you talk, and then I'll introduce Judy. Okay, sure, sure.
All right. Well, I didn't know I was going to start. Thank you so much. I would have taken a couple of more gulps of that drink if I had known. Thank you so much for having me. Confidence, yes. All right. You know what? I'm going to take this out. It kind of feels funny talking about something personal standing at a podium. Is that okay? I'm going to walk. Do a little dance here. Okay. I got 5 minutes. What? Okay. All right. So, quick story. Confidence, competence, and courage. I have 2 daughters. And, sorry, I don't mean to step on you. I have 2 daughters, and my bedtime routine for them is to share life stories. What I have told my 11-year-old is that you have a blank canvas. And this is kind of the way I like to live my life. And that every experience and the way I tackle the experiences are like brushstrokes of a painting, of a masterpiece. And what you hope is that you will find color and beauty in that masterpiece, and as you kind of evolve in your character and in your personality, you look at your painting and you feel proud about it. And that has been my motto. And in my bedtime stories to them, I share with them the opportunities I had growing up that allowed me to add another brushstroke to my painting. And most of them come with challenges. Most of them were hurdles, things that challenged me, challenged my character, or challenged my perseverance. But in persevering through that challenge and through that hurdle, I came out from the other side more courageous, more confident, and more competent. And so I invite challenges in life. And if you know me, I jump in head on. I first say yes, and then I think about what I said yes to. Because I've learned that it's important to be open to experiences, and the more challenging that experience is, the more high I am as I'm passing through it. So I'll share with you a couple of challenges. I left Iran. I grew up in Iran, lived through the Iran-Iraq War. My childhood was painted with many nights of bomb shelters and cousins and family members and friends who were killed in the war. So experiences like that painted my childhood, and yet I have fond memories, even of those bomb shelters. I remember dragging our bag of Monopoly and, every candy, what is that game? Anyhow, so we had games, candy cane, yes. We had games with us, and we'd go and play, and it was actually, we looked forward to it because it was an opportunity to hang out with our friends in the neighborhood in the middle of the night. Imagine that, how fun is that? My first kiss was in a bomb shelter. So we fled. No, a little later. I said a kiss. So then we fled the country when I was 13. We literally left with a couple of suitcases. My father was a very prominent psychiatrist in Iran. But we had to flee because we didn't feel safe, especially for my brother. And I came here when I was 13, not speaking a word of English. And it's not easy when you're 13 and look different. And I had boobs then. Like, I had big boobs when I was 13. It's a Middle Eastern thing, and it's not okay to be... I'm sorry. Is this being recorded? Yeah. And so I was awkward. 2 minutes. I was awkward, very awkward. So anyhow, to make a long story short, it was a big, difficult transition, trying to fit in. But I worked with that challenge and came out of that feeling confident, competent, and courageous. My senior year, I was voted the most likely to succeed. That was only 4 years later. So, to think that I didn't speak a word of English and did that made me feel confident. So years later, so fast forward to 20 years later, I was speaking at ASPENS, and I was approached by the president of the Eye Society in Iran, asked if I would go back as their keynote speaker, which I found to be, I gasped. I couldn't believe it, that having fled the country and to go back as a keynote speaker as a woman, and if you know Iran, it's not a country that is equal. The women in ophthalmology, their ophthalmology department is unbelievably advanced, but the women in ophthalmology are held back. So to be invited to go back was quite an amazing experience. And so I accepted, despite the fact that the State Department said, sorry, we're not going to protect you if you go. And the invitation came after the Iranian revolution, the Iranian elections, where there was a lot of upheaval in Iran. And if you remember, there was a woman who was killed in the demonstrations, peaceful demonstrations, and her name was Neda. And I became actually the Iranian of the year that year among Iranians in Iran, because I represented the alter ego of the Neda who died in Iran, and I was the Neda in America who had evolved beyond that. And yet everyone told me, why are you going back? Why would you do this? Because I had made some political comments that actually became viral about how I felt this sense of sadness, great sadness for my fellow Iranians back home Iran, because the only difference between this Neda and the Neda who was dead on the streets in a peaceful demonstration was that I have opportunities to be here among you all who celebrate me as a woman and celebrate my voice, and she didn't. And so, making a long story short, I went back, and I'll tell you this fun story. When I entered and I went there, and mind you, I was the keynote speaker, and yet the men wouldn't shake my hand. And would I be okay with that? No, I would basically slap my hand. I literally violated their space. But, and that's the confidence that you all have given me, and I'm so, so appreciative of this community that has given me that kind of confidence. So to be here, to stand here as an Iranian woman who fled a country that would have never had an owl or an ASPENS, or have a meeting like this to celebrate confidence, courage, and competence in women and celebrate it to this degree, it really is an honor. Thank you for adding this brushstroke to my life. Thank you.